Okay, this time we're talking about making a plan, keeping it organized, and sticking to it. What we've done at the Cassia Fair, because we've been fortunate enough to have the success and community support, you kind of look at the time of day for the kind of music that you're playing and pertain it to the people that are there at that time. For instance, in the early afternoon and daytime, we tend to get a lot of older people that come down to the fair. And you'll find that with any festival and other events too. But the reason is pretty simple. They're getting older, a lot of them can't drive at night anymore, so they come to these events in the daytime. So I like to have music that is more appropriate for the people that are going to be there and in that time slot. For instance, where the older people are going to be there, we might book the old-time fiddlers. We might book some barbershop groups, maybe the kids' dance groups, and so the grandparents and parents can all come down to the event and have lunch and then watch the kids and grandkids perform. And that's usually in the daytime. And then later on, we mix it up a little bit more as far as the different styles of music for the different age groups. And then in the evening, we'll have the rock bands and country bands and just other groups that we get to turn up the volume a little bit for. And that's another part of that, keeping the sound levels appropriate for the different times of day, too. So, anyway, to keep it organized, that's kind of how we do it. We have certain times of day for certain groups of people. Now, the thing is, when you start doing these plans, you know what your plan is once you've decided what it is. You just don't deviate. There's always so many little things that happen at an event that if you suddenly change your mind, you're going to confuse everybody. Your sound tech, you're going to confuse other performers, you're probably going to get confused yourself, and you'll look confused. And you really don't want to do that. You want to try to keep it straight up in your head, because it can get a little ridiculous sometimes, especially if you deviate. Recently, my singing partner and I, Art Smith, we were doing an event in another town, and it was very interesting. The coordinators that were at this event, they had everything up on the stage. It was going to be on stage, the whole event. Well, suddenly the coordinator decided, no, we're going to do this first part over in this other section of the park where we were performing. And so you had all these old people, because it was a patriotic event, and there was a lot of veterans and people that have been around for a while, older people. He wanted all of us to get up and walk over to that part of the park and stand there. Well, there's no seating. This was a last-minute change. They had a couple long-winded speeches. They had some songs. And people were starting to hurt. They needed to sit down. But the coordinator decided to change the plan really quick, even though he was told not to. But he did. And whatever the reason was, I don't know. I have my own opinion, and I'll keep it to myself this time. It's also why I'm not naming his name, because he's a nice enough guy and I don't want to offend him. But you have a plan and you stick to it. The plan was to have everything on stage, not suddenly move. Because when they got done with this little bit that they changed, everybody had to walk back over to the other part of the park where the stage was and the seating. And then they could get on with the rest of the program. So they deviated from their original plan. Unfortunately, this has happened many, many times with this individual. He hasn't learned his lesson, and apparently we haven't either, because we keep saying, yeah, we'll come perform. So it kind of goes both ways. But don't deviate from your plan. You know what you want. You want it, but you want to keep it organized and keep it together.